Aloha. It's your favorite friend with questionable character, Aloha Mr. Hand, bringing you a Boxing Day edition of Collector's Corner. Of course, it is brought to you by our friends at From the 108, and of course, powered by Jack Daniels. I'll have some later. So, just wanted to share some memorabilia I have, keep going the trend of doing a collector's corner, and a couple things in particular because one, we are celebrating a birthday boy today, so I figured I'd pull out some of the stuff I have for him, and then I figured I would share some Chicago Bears stuff as well. Of course, for those of you who don't know, the birthday boy is Baseball Hall of Famer Carlton Fisk, so I'll get started with what I have for him. The first is a 1973 Sports Illustrated autographed by him right there from his time in Boston. Not bad. I like it. You know, it was something to get signed. But then this is one of my favorites, and I consider this as being 50% complete. This plate with his famous home run I had signed by him, and he jokingly made the comment that he hadn't seen one of these in years. Also, you'll notice the little baseball right there. You can't really see, but there's a button in the back here that allows you to press it up. But I say 50% complete because I do want to get Johnny Bench, who is represented here. He was behind the plate when the ball was hit. So I do want to get Bench on here as well. I think it'll make a great display case. Get it framed once I get Bench on there. So that's my plan with this. Trying to think, do I have any more? I thought I had another Fisk, but yes, I do. One more Fisk item. As you know, he broke the record for most games caught by a catcher on a June night in 1993. Let's see, it is June 22nd, 1993. How do I know this? I know this because I went to the game and I had this done. This is the program that they handed out. I know it's hard to see with the reflections, but this is the program they handed out that night that I had them signed, as well as my ticket on the bottom for that night. I was still in college at the time, so I could only afford a 500 level seat. So you can imagine what the view like was up there. Box 557, row 8, seat 1. Party time, let me tell you. So that's all I have for Fisk. I wanted to do those just to celebrate his birthday today, which is today, by the way. Ricky Henderson was yesterday, just as an FYI. So next I wanted to move on to some Bears things, and I have a couple of items here for the Bears that I find interesting and I really like. And the Bears, the 1985 Bears were a significant factor in my youth. Walter Payton was one of my all-time favorite athletes. Seeing him win a title was great. Walter Payton, I consider one of the, there's a lot of talk by people saying, this player's untradeable, that player's untradeable. To be completely honest with you, I think there were two untradeable athletes in Chicago sports history. Only two. In my lifetime, I should say. I was alive at the end of the Gale Sayers, Dick Butkus years, but I never got to really see them play, so I can't judge on that. But there was only two athletes I would say are untradeable in my lifetime of Chicago sports watching. One was Walter Payton. The other is pretty damn obvious, Michael Jordan. Those are the only two. I know players talk about, Andrew Vaughn is untrade. You can't trade him. You can't trade Madrigal. You can't trade this guy. You can't trade that guy. Any one of those guys can be traded if the right deal comes along. Just remember that. I am not saying trade them for the sake of trading them, but if you get the right deal, you have to do it. There is no such thing as an untouchable. Like I said, the only two untouchables, Walter Payton and Michael Jordan. You may differ, but that's it. And I know some people have come back at me and said Kane. Some people have come back at me and said Urlacher, to which I respond with Kane. Yes, he's a great player. I'm not disputing that at all. But would you trade Kane for Sidney Crosby? You'd have to think about it. Would you trade Kane for Connor McDavid? You'd have to think about it. As far as Urlacher, would you trade Urlacher for Ray Lewis? In a heartbeat. Absolutely in a heartbeat. Would you trade Urlacher for Ed Reed? Pretty much in a heartbeat too. So just remember that. That's my opinion, of course. You are entitled to have your own, but that's how I feel. So moving on to the Bears. The first item I have, and let me move it out of the sleeve because it might cause a reflection, is a signed Sports Illustrated from from when they won the NFC title against the Rams in January of 1986. This is dated January 20, 1986. You can see Jim McMahon signed it right there. I was a huge Jim McMahon fan back in those days. I just thought the punky QB was the coolest thing in the world. Then I met him and my opinion changed, so I'll leave it at that. And this is when I met him, when I got this done. The next item I have is, the next couple of items I have are all interrelated, so I'm just going to show the first one, which is a very important thing, but it doesn't have any autographs or anything, and I'll explain why I'm showing it coming up. This is the Super Bowl 20 Sports Illustrated issue that hit newsstands February 3, 1986, celebrating the Bears' victory over the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 20. It is the complete magazine, and there's some, the story of Super Bowl 20 in there and everything else. McMahon getting hit and going head over heels. This is not autographed by anyone, but it is significant because of something I am planning on having done. I am talking to someone about getting this done. Just haven't been able to connect to have it dropped off to get all the framing work done for it. But it will be framed at some point in the near future. And that is a Super Bowl 20 program signed by 26 members of the Chicago Bears Super Bowl 20 champions. The first question everybody's going to ask, no, Walter Payton is not on there, unfortunately. No, Dave Duerson is not on there, unfortunately. And no, Buddy Ryan is not on there. Sadly, they all passed away before I really did this. I mean, Payton passed away in 1999, God rest his soul. So it's a little hard to find stuff with him that, I mean, it's not hard to find stuff with him, but you're going to pay for it because he passed away so long ago. But on here, some of the people on here include Hampton, Ditka. Like you can see, Hampton's right here. There's Ditka. Gary Fensick's down here. Singletary's on here. Let me see if I can find him. I know Singletary's on here. I just can't remember where. But, and McMahon's on there as well. Right there, number 9. So my plan is to get this framed and frame it with the Sports Illustrated that I showed you, and this. This is a Super Bowl 20 ticket that was used at the New Orleans Superdome on January 26, 1986. Picked it up at a sports show a while back. It is in very, very good shape, and my plan is to have it framed with this and this. So there's one other thing I wanted to show just because I'm feeling whimsical and nostalgic. And since the last thing I showed you was a ticket, I figured I'd show you another ticket. And that is my ticket from the first game at New Comiskey Park. April 18th, 1991. Think about it. This season will be 30 years. It'll be 30 years since the park opened. Think about that. 30 years. Hard to believe. I was fortunate enough to go to the final series, including the final game at the old park. And I was also fortunate enough to see the first game, the first win. Frank Thomas hit the first Sox homer. I also saw Detroit hit a shitload of homers in that 16-0 debacle on opening day, but we won't go there. The first win on that Sunday, which was April 21st, because they played Thursday, took Friday off to do a structural check of the ballpark, and then, played Saturday and Sunday against Detroit. And then April 22nd, they played on Monday night against the Baltimore Orioles, and that's when Frank hit the first White Sox homer in New Comiskey Park. And I was there for that as well. It was a Ben McDonald versus Alex Fernandez pitching matchup that night. So, and I remember Scotty Fletcher scoring the winning run on the Sunday game against the Tigers to win the first game for the Sox in the new park. But this is my ticket from that day. This is where I sat, section 105. Yeah, I know it's not 108, but, whatever. Long before I knew those guys. Section 105, row 20, seat 7. That's where I was for the first game in New Comiskey Park history. You'll also notice I had this graded by PSA. It is a mint 9. know how hard it was to keep it in that great a shape, especially when you might have had did a little too much one waiting before the game, and especially during the game after the Tigers put up the 6 and 10 run innings back to back. So it is a 9 out of 10. Last time I checked, which granted has been a little while ago, there were only 2 graded at 9 out of 10, none higher. I also have another one you'll see over my shoulder. That one I picked up at a sports show many years later, but it is with a 1991 Comiskey Park inaugural season baseball. I thought it'd be a nice thing to have displayed to show just, the game and the ball and everything else. It was something I just felt like doing at the time. So hope everyone enjoyed it. I hope everyone had a great Christmas. Hope everyone has a happy New Year. And you know what? Let's get some free agents in. Let's go sign Hendrick or Cologne. Sign Bauer. I don't think Springer's coming, to be honest with you, but I wouldn't mind seeing someone like a Jackie Bradley Jr. And the reason I say Jackie Bradley Jr. is because you can use him in right field, and then on days when Robert needs a day off, you plug him in center, ready to go. I mean, the guy's a Gold Glover, so it'd be a nice defense to have, and you can also use him in later innings if need be. Or if he's playing and Eaton's on the bench, you can plug Eaton in late innings as well. So hopefully everyone is well. Hopefully everyone enjoyed their Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate. And of course, I hope everyone enjoyed Festivus as well. I know I had a good time, and there was a little too much Festivus cheer, to be honest with you. But I still ain't eating no fucking salads. So hope everyone is well. Thanks a lot, everyone. With that, I am out. Bang.